Hey folks, it is Friday the 6th, and I promised, even though I haven't posted the one from last night, which I said I was going to do one today, but just need to check the time to see if when I need to move the sprinkler. About another hour. Okay. So I've been weed whacking, so I'm kind of filthy, but things are, let's just start out front. Things are just really going nicely here. So I haven't had my helper in a couple of weeks, and so that's challenging, but so let's just start out front. So I've got to move all this unless he can get some free time. So this is looking out to the driveway, out to the cul-de-sac. You can see things are going crazy in here. These are lupines. These are columbines, I believe. And we got like all sorts of stuff in here. These are gonna be birds of paradise. These tall blade things, and then the things that are thicker and a different color are the irises that are on their way out. So this is looking down basically the driveway in a sense towards the casita, the shed, and all that. So this is new. Almost got the river rock done. But anyway, here is this side of the yard, which has not been really touched until now. So what I've done here is I've done hydrangeas in the front. They're gonna be like big blue hydrangeas, like that. There you go. And then I have red rhododendrons in the back, kind of alternating. And then these are my old rhododendrons, so hopefully they'll come back. Because this soil over here was terrible, but we've added nutrients, we've added fresh soil. I got a weed whack over here. This is kind of like the forgotten side. So nice with a little bit of a breeze, although it's going to get hot, so I want to do this before it got too hot, because I go inside when it gets too hot. Okay, so let's just take a look. So this is the back 40. This is the east side. This is east, west, north. The road is basically north. The driveway exit, the cul-de-sac, is basically south. The house faces south, southwest. So this is coming along really nicely. We'll save the garden for last. Just have to be careful with the sprinkler. There's the I had to redo the twine, the line, weed whacker. But I weed whacked all that over there. We'll take a look at that. And I just got done weed whacking over here, which are basically the areas that have the grass and the weeds that still need to be done. But since my worker buddy is not here, hasn't been here for a couple of weeks, I thought this was really long. It kind of looked like that over there where the wildflowers are, which are really doing well. These are the wildflowers from last year, folks, and a lot of them have come back. Albeit there is a lot of clover in here that at some point I need to kind of go through, but I need to do that by hand. There's a lot of clover in here. But you can see these are from a package of just seeds from Fred Meyer. And I've got lupines, I've got whatever these things are, I guess some kind of daisy. And then whatever these other things are. Got a hostis, this is a new hostis. These are a bunch of new hostises in here. And then these here, this one here is about ready to flower. This is all towards the west. We have a smoke bush there. This is actually another smoke bush, very different looking. I think I'm going to take the red Japanese maple that's over there and move it over to here, I think. I just don't know if I want a tree, but I think these don't have really invasive roots, but I don't know if I want to take that chance. So I may put it up on that second tier, right in front of I'm calling this the Arborvitae ridge, because it's all arborvitaes, and it's ridged, it's raised up, and then we have the kind of this flat area here where I'm putting some big things in, and then so it's kind of sloping down a little bit, kind of terraced almost. And then in the front will be the astilbes and the hostices and the blah blah blah. There's some lavender in here. The helleboruses. These are the helleboruses. These are the astilbes. Helleborus. I've got to do some trimming. Astilbe. Orange azalea. Barberry. Or some kind of berry. Ostrich fern, which these are all new. This astilbe is gigantic. The astilbes are all going to be blooming, and now we're back to the front. And what I have in here, I have Parises in the front because they're going to get big. And I have azaleas in here, kind of lower level. So it'll be low, high, low. These are lupines, columbines, a couple of lupines. The bees love the lupines, and lupines are native to the area. And I have a couple of lilacs, there and there. So I think what I'm going to do, just to save time, is since I can't wait for the guy to come, is I'm going to go ahead and that's why I trimmed this out, because I was going to have it dug up, but now I'm of the mindset, especially this lower part down here, I can put a pretty heavy load of pea gravel on, and it'll just kill the grass or weeds and whatever garbage is there. And then it'll go around the 3 tanks, septic tanks here. These are like the, I don't know what these are. These are like the, where it comes from the house, and then it goes through this process, and then they go out. There's like a junction box out there where the hoses are, and then it goes, then they have lines going out to the 5 tanks, and you can see like a green one, green top right there, I think, right about there. There it is. This is kind of a rose area. This is new. I wouldn't have been able to do roses if I didn't have the deer fencing. I wouldn't be able to do a lot of these things if I didn't have the deer fencing up. So I said this was one type of smoke bush. That's a very different looking smoke bush. These 3 things are called always want to say sepia, spirea. These are 3 different kinds of spireas. They're also going to get kind of big, which is great. This is an Escallonia, and I'm going to go to the farmer's market tomorrow and get some more because they're really inexpensive and they get really kind of big and have pink flowers. But this is an Escallonia that I got at the farmer's market last week. I just got one to try it out, but really healthy looking. But I thought I would do some Escallonias in this area because it's a pretty big area, and I could probably do some up there. Just give some coverage and privacy and color and foliage and all that kind of good stuff. So this is what they'll look like. This is hibiscus right there. And I may add some roses, like here and here, if I see something that interests me. So this is Escallonia. This is what they do. So they got decent flowers. This thing is really starting to sprout now that we're getting some good sun. These guys are starting to do their thing. These things are, I got these at Walmart. I've never seen them before. I have no idea what they are. They're called like Mirabellas, some kind of M word. So I do need to do some transplanting to get like ground covers into here. But I'm going to take my time on that. I'm not going to sweat. I just need to do some weeding, but I can do that by hand. That's pretty basic. Oh, this is what I want to show. So these are the 3 fruit trees on the west side, and then we have the 3 over on the east side, and then the one in the cherry in the garden. I think it's a cherry. But check this out. Now this is the fruit tree, and I believe it's apple. And it flowered very quickly right after planting, and so which I was surprised at because there are hardly any leaves on this sucker. But then I noticed the other day, now check this out, folks. I think, and there are 2 more up there. I think those are apples, no? Are they pears? I don't know. I don't know what this tree is. I thought it was an apple, but you know. Anyway, very exciting. Nothing else there's a lot of new growth on the cherry out in the garden, which we'll see. And then so this needs to get rocked. I'll probably take the weed whacker and just try to get it down to like roots. Just basically scrape it, scar the soil. And hopefully that gets rid of or minimizes weeds coming back. I just need to put some of these rocks because I can use them later on. That's called candy tuft, by the way. But these are the interesting things that I've gotten, and I've gotten 3 of them. So they're very different looking. So these are all the same plant. I think they're called Wigelias. I don't know. Let's see. Variegated Wegula? How the heck do you pronounce it? Why don't they tell you how to pronounce the damn thing? Alright. So I still have some planting to do. I still have some arborvitaes, but I'm going to wait and pray that the guy will come because that's a bigger job. Because I've got to just get those and the 2 Japanese maples planted. I think that's all that's left. Oh, this is another Wegla. Like, go figure. No, this is not a Wegla. I apologize. This is not a Wegla. But I just thought this was a cool color. You can see new growth right there. And this is how it flowers. It just has a different color. I get tired of green. These are my indoor, and I'd asked my son if I could do lucky bamboo that you get at like the store. They had done so well inside, and then I brought them out, and he said that they could go outside, and then the sun just killed them. I mean, they're still green on the stalks, so I'm hopeful that, I don't know, maybe I should have planted them somewhere else. I don't know, someplace shady, I guess. I just don't really have many shady spots. This is a spurge. That's a spurge. I like spurges. They also get big. We're talking like 6 feet, 6 by 6, 5 by 5, like that range. And they're gonna get big, which is great. That's a Wegula, Wedula, but all three so different. I mean, look at the leaves on this. The cypresses are going, the Leland cypresses, by the way, are going crazy. I've seen a ton of new growth. This is the first year that I've really seen this. But if you look up at the top. Look at that, right? There, I think it's there. Okay. You can see that new growth. Here, I'll try to get up a little bit closer. Look at that, look at that. This is all new growth. And I did not see this last year. And look at that. That means it's gonna get taller and bushier and all that kind of stuff. This is kind of a sage area. The sage area. This is kind of a heather area. Heathers, different kinds of heathers. Got lavenders in here. I did plant a couple of the my fence things. This is honeysuckle, so I'm going to give that a shot. I need to plant others. I have other kind of hanging things. We're going to see the clematis shortly. Let me think about how we can make a run for it. So this is kind of the Rudbeckia, which are like not lazy-eyed Susans, black-eyed Susans. This is going to be your coneflowers, your black-eyed Susan, Rudbeckias. They're called Rudbeckias, is the family name. This is the coral bell, also known as Heuchera, I believe is how you pronounce it. But I really like just the variation in colors of leaves. You know, it's just kind of cool. I'm just gonna have it like be a big, and it cuts down on the weeds. It doesn't allow, you know, many weeds, which is nice. This is kind of a peony area. And then we have a bee balm area right where the sprinkler is. Let's get out of the way of the sprinkler. And the bee balms, a whole bunch of bee balms here. But the bee balms are about ready. These guys are about ready to bloom, I believe. These are foxgloves. They're kind of like at the entrances. So I don't know if you remember what this area looked like, kind of the transition zone between pea gravel and soil. So I want to do it like, I'll show you in a second. This is kind of like a lily and, I don't know, a bunch of different stuff area. That over there is kind of like the ground cover. That's the highest elevation on the property, the old stump. Excuse me. And it has a bunch of creeping jenny and different types of ground cover. I think there's a creeping phlox. This is kind of the grassy area. And then you can see the difference between watered and not watered in terms of moisture content. But the addition of the topsoil has really helped, because if I go down a little bit, it's still damp. So these are dianthuses. Those are a couple of the, one is a type of trumpet vine, and one is something else, maybe a different type of honeysuckle. And I have a jasmine, and I have spurges kind of along, interspersed between the Leland cypresses and the rhododendrons. This is going to be also different types of grasses, kind of. This is whatever those things are. They look like succulents, but they get like these big flowers. I mean, these plants look really good compared to last year. This is going to be, this looks like the same type of tree as the one that has the fruit on it, but I don't see anything on it. Strawberries have been going crazy. I mean, look at it. This is the one that's been producing. I've already gotten 2 strawberries from that. So this is all new here, folks. This was just one big triangle. And then we had the transition zones like we had, like I showed you just a minute ago, where they were, it wasn't really, these weren't really integrated in terms of the transition. And also because this was such a big dirt area, soil area, that I needed to be able to traverse it without having to go through dirt and mud all the time. So the past couple of days, I've been reconfiguring these. This is also where we had like a little bit of a flood. Not a flood, but this is a very low point here, and it's coming from up high. So when we get rains, it only happens when we get rains. And so you could see almost like a trail here, because you can see that the soil is a little bit different. Now here it's changed because I've been working here. So I'm going to add soil on this side. Okay. I've got to enhance the soil because the original soil is just like hardpan. And the problem is that when it rains, the hardpan, which is not very far below here, let me just see. Well, I don't have gloves on, so I'm not going to mess with it. Suffice to say that need to add a lot of soil. I want the soil to go up to the rock level, and same with the pea gravel on the inside. Oh, I think I have a hidden strawberry under here. Oh my goodness gracious me! Look at that guy, folks. Holy moly. Very exciting. Very, 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 very exciting. So the difficulty is just getting the pea gravel up here. So I have to figure out something, because this pea gravel, this pathway going around, he put a ton of gravel on. So if I'm using the wheelbarrow, it's really, really super hard to, and I did it yesterday and it was just excruciatingly difficult. Don't want to deal with that. I think this is a cherry. Oh, look at that. This one is going to be harvestable. I'll probably wait till tomorrow. So this is the west side of the garden. Oh, before we go into the garden, this is kind of like a salvia area. We have coreopsises, you could see there. I've got to get in there and clean a little bit. Whoa, what's that red flower? I don't know what that is. These are different types of coreopsises, so we have a lot of coreopsises in here. Salvias. Whatever those things are. They're kind of cool. Nice, get away from the purples and the pinks that seem to pervade everything. I like different colors. So these are all different types of salvias and dianthuses and yada yada yada. I know the birds and the bees love this place. The bees especially, and the butterflies. I've seen butterflies that I haven't seen since I was a kid, like types of butterflies. I finally saw a monarch that I hadn't seen in forever. I gotta do some trimming here. But look at these clematises, folks. So these are climbers. So this is a deciduous one. And then this is an evergreen one, which I didn't even know existed. The leaves are very different looking, but these are white. The evergreens are white, and then I have like the different colors that alternate. But look at these clematises, folks.